guys, it's Victoria. I'm gonna make the most delicious lamb dish you've ever had today. If you are a lamb fan, you're going to absolutely love this. And even if you think you might not always like lamb, I think that you will really enjoy this. We're gonna talk about some of the different kinds of lambs that are out there as well. Because there are people who think that they don't like lamb and then they try different lambs and then they like them. So we'll kind of go over that, but this is a really amazing recipe. It's not really hard to make, but it does take a little bit of time, so you do need to be patient. So there we go, and now we're going to get started. So I have here 4 onions chopped up. It's a lot, but don't worry, it'll melt all down. And then I have an entire clove of garlic that is just whole garlics that we're going to put in there. Also, it's going to melt, so don't worry. We have some salt and we have some spices. I'll put up what I'm putting in here today. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is I'm using a really big cast iron. You can use a really big pan. You can cut down the recipe. I'm making a big batch today, so I'm doing 5 really big pieces of lamb, and I'll talk about the kind of lamb that I have as well. I'm going to get started with my onions and we'll keep talking. So there we go. And I'm going to put in the garlic as well. So my cast iron is on a medium high right now, and my oven is preheating 400. Now, the pieces of lamb that I have here are really nice, thick shoulder pieces, and they are not New Zealand lamb. I don't mean to offend anybody, but I don't like New Zealand lamb, and I find a lot of people who think they don't like lamb is because they've only ever had New Zealand lamb. And I love lamb, so I'll eat it, but this definitely is not my preference. I like to go to my local butcher and get fresh, locally sourced lamb because it doesn't have that overpowering fragrance that the New Zealand lamb has. So that's why I use local lamb. And the other thing that I like to use is the shoulder cut. It's a lot more fatty, but it adds so much more flavor and also makes it so much more moist. And we are going to cook this very well. We're not going to be serving this at like a medium rare or rare, anything like that. I actually like to cook my lamb like this, and it just makes it super juicy and very moist. And I don't serve it exactly like a steak, so I actually cook mine for a long time. So here we go. So we have the onions and the garlic sort of like playing around in here. We don't really need to cook them now. I'm just covering them with a generous amount of oil that I have in here. I put about 4 tablespoons, but again, it's because I have a lot of lamb here. I have about 5 or 6 very big pieces of lamb. You can cut your recipe down to size, definitely. So there we go. And I'm going to put in my 2 teaspoons of salt. Again, if you're making less, just adjust for taste. And my spices, I'm going to write down what I have in here for you guys, okay? So that's just going to all go in there. And the heat is still on a medium high, and that's okay for the first little bit. And then I'm just going to kind of push all the onions and the mixture aside and place in my lamb little bits at a time. And just fit it all in there. It's going to look like it's not going to fit, but it will. The lamb melts down as it's cooking because of all the fats that are in there, but that's all going to be part of what makes this really delicious. I make this dish about 3 times a year. It's very rich and very delicious. So I only make it about 3 times a year, but it's really worth it. I'm making it for my friends to make who are big lamb fans, but they do not necessarily know how to cook a good lamb. And of course, all the restaurants are closed everywhere. So I'm making them a nice treat. Don't worry, these are people from my social circle or COVID bubble, which we are all having to abide by. There we go. So see how I'm kind of stuffing it all in there, and that's totally okay. Just get as much in there as possible, because we are going to let these guys marry in here for a long time. So I'm going to leave this on here for about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to flip everything over. So another 10 minutes on that side, and then once both sides are nicely flipped over, I'm going to put it in my preheated oven at 400 for about half an hour. Then I'm going to go and check on it and see how it's doing, and then flip it one more time, and then put it back in for another half an hour, and we're going to do that 4 times. So you guys can obviously get fast forwarded. I'm going to get started on this. I'll make sure to write all the descriptions of what I'm doing and make sure that you guys get pictures of everything that I'm doing as well. Okay, so I'll see you guys at the end.